In today's video, I'm going to reveal the hidden writing mistakes that quietly reduce your PTE Core writing score. Okay, let me start with a strange question. Have you ever looked at your writing and thought that was pretty good? Maybe you checked your grammar, you used advanced vocabulary, you followed a template, maybe you even stayed within the word count, then your score arrives and it's lower than expected. You sit wondering what exactly went wrong. Here's the scary part. Sometimes the problem is not what you did wrong. The problem is what you did not know you were doing wrong. So today I want to introduce you to something I call it as the invisible penalty zone. These are not the obvious mistakes, not spelling mistakes, not grammar mistakes, not even punctuation mistakes. Those are very easy to spot, right? I'm talking about the hidden habits that quietly pull your score down while making your writing look perfectly fine on the surface. Think of it like this. Imagine driving a car. The engine seems fine, the fuel tank is full, the tires look good, but the handbrake is slightly engaged. The car moves but never reaches full speed. That's exactly what happens in many PTE co-writing responses. Okay? Now, the penalty zone number one, the fancy vocabulary trap. We'll begin with one of the most dangerous mistakes. Okay, candidates believe big words means big scores. That's wrong. Now look at this sentence. Technology is beneficial for society. Simple, clear, accurate. Now look at this. Technology is an exceptionally advantageous phenomenon facilitating multifaceted societal advancement. Sounds impressive, but does it sound natural? Not really. Many of you spend more time hunting for difficult vocabulary than developing ideas. Am I right? But here's the irony. Advanced vocabulary only helps if it's accurate. One incorrect word can damage clarity. Okay? Even one awkward phrase can make the sentence sound unnatural. The highest scoring response aren't trying to impress, they are trying to communicate. Okay? So here the invisible penalty is choosing difficult words when simple words would communicate more effectively. So please make a note of it. Never do that. The second penalty zone is connector addiction. This one surprises people, I know. Students learn furthermore, moreover, additionally, consequently, hence, subsequently, therefore, as a result, and suddenly, every sentence begins with a connector. Listen to this. Furthermore, technology is useful. Moreover, it improves communication. Additionally, it increases productivity. Consequently, people benefit. The writing sounds mechanical, isn't it? The connectors become decorations instead of logical bridges. The AI doesn't reward connector quantity, it rewards logical relationships. A strong argument doesn't need a connector for every sentence. Okay, so here the invisible penalty is using connectors to create the illusion of coherence instead of genuine coherence. Okay, now let's talk about the penalty 3, the example nobody asked for. This happens constantly. The candidates write, technology improves communication. For example, my cousin moved to Canada and uses WhatsApp every day. Sounds harmless. But then my neighbor also uses technology. My friend uses technology too. My uncle uses technology. Suddenly the essay becomes a family documentary, right? So weak examples often add words without adding value. Strong examples explain. Weak example, they just merely exist. So the examiner or the scoring system cares about the development, not random stories. So you already know what's the invisible penalty here. Using examples that increases length but not depth. Okay? Then let's move on to the penalty zone 4. The repetition disguise. This one is sneaky. You have to look carefully here. Technology is important because it saves time. Technology is beneficial because it helps people save time. Technology is useful because it allows user to save time. Can you identify what is the penalty? Yes, one idea the candidate thinks I have three reasons. Actually, they have one reason wearing three different outfits. This creates an illusion of development, but real development expands ideas. It doesn't rename them, right? So, repeating the same point while believing that you are adding new information, that's the invisible penalty here. And the penalty zone 5, the overgrown introduction. Some of you spend half of your response in introducing the topic. Imagine the prompt asks, should schools use tablets instead of textbooks? And if you're writing, technology has existed for many years. Throughout history, people have developed tools. Since ancient times, humans have created inventions. Stop. The examiner already knows the topic. The scoring system already knows the topic. You have limited words. Every sentence should earn its place, right? So, wasting valuable words on information that does not advance the argument, again, that comes as an invisible penalty. Then the penalty zone 6, the perfect sentence obsession. See, whatever I'm giving you the tips, these are very, very important. Okay. And please make a note of it because these penalties are invisible that nobody will talk about. Kindly make a note of it. Okay. Coming back to the topic, the perfect sentence obsession. This is where many strong English speakers get trapped. They spend 3 minutes creating one beautiful sentence. Yes, then they panic later. The result? Incomplete development, weak conclusion, rushed ideas. Remember, PTE Core rewards the entire response, not your favorite sentence. A response with 10 strong sentences beats a response with 3 brilliant sentences and 5 rushed ones. So, obviously, the penalty here is chasing perfection instead of consistency. Next one, the penalty zone 7 is the coherence illusion. This is perhaps the most dangerous invisible penalty. The writer makes sense in your head, but not necessarily to the reader. Look at this progression. Technology is useful. Schools should use tablets. Students enjoy learning. Environmental pollution is increasing. Online education is growing. Every sentence may be correct, but do they connect? Not really. Coherence is not about having correct sentences. You know that, right? It's about creating a logical journey. Think of stepping stones across a river. Every idea should naturally lead to the next. So, here, the invisible penalty is writing connected sentences instead of connected ideas. Okay? Then, penalty zone 8, the template prison. Yeah, templates are useful. I do agree with that. But some candidates, they become prisoners of them. Every essay sounds identical. Every paragraph follows the exact same rhythm. Every response feels memorized. The problem is not the template. The problem is dependence. High scorers use templates as frameworks, but low scorers use templates as crutches. So here, the invisible penalty is following the template instead of answering the question. Okay? Now let's move on to the penalty zone 9, the more words equal to more score. This is a myth again. Many of you believe longer responses, higher score. No. Imagine two responses. Response A, like 220 words of focused logical development, and response B, which has 220 words of repetition. Guess which one wins? Quality beats the quantity. Always, right? So here the penalty is adding words instead of adding value. Okay? So remember, you need to write the reason. So remember, you need to write as why, how, what is the impact. That's the development, right? So this essay does not contain terrible. Hmm. So always remember the biggest writing mistakes are rarely the visible ones. Because spelling mistakes are visible, grammar mistakes are visible, even the punctuation mistakes are visible. But the dangerous mistakes are invisible. Try to identify the mistakes when you're practicing for your exams. That's all for today's video. Kindly like, share, and subscribe for more PTE code tips. See you in the next video. Bye bye.